to the finals they've won, and all 4 of those titles were won here in Dallas.
That's pretty impressive, Dave. They like this tournament. They've got a rich tradition in it. Oh, my.
Taking a spill on that opening tip, Tim Moore, but Tommy Davis controls for the Cougars. Wally Tanner, Danny Hooker, Mike Thibodeau, the officials. And a Houston team which, like last year, had a very rocky start but got it going and had a very respectable second half of the season. Inside they went to Kurt Ford, and he drew the foul by Darvin Ham for the Red Raiders.
Ford was headed for the dunk, too. If he'd caught that ball, the foul had not been committed. He had a clear path to the basket.
Houston still with an unimpressive record, 9-18, 5-9 in the conference. They have the number 6 seed taking on the 2nd-seeded Red Raiders. Just 2 points away from the top seed position had they not lost on the last day to TCU, and the Cougars throw it away. James Dickey has his team playing about as hot as anybody in the country. They've won 10 of the last 11, 14 of their last 16. So as improved as Houston is, even more so when you talk about Tech. And right away, Lance Hughes drains the three-pointer.
Look out when that happens for Texas Tech, when Hughes gets it going outside.
Jones can't answer with a 3. Tim Moore will be active all over the floor. Gets it out to Tommy Davis. He can't score on the drive. Batted around and picked up by Jason Sasser for the Raiders. Jason Martin gets in deep, drops it off for Sasser, and a whistle inside. 3 seconds. Well, there was a little jawing going on between games. While we were waiting to chat with Terrence Rencher and Roderick Anderson, Texas Tech had come out to warm up. And the mind game and the trash talking has already begun between the 2 squads.
Texas Tech was talking to Roderick Anderson, and Anderson responded by saying, "We're already there. You better worry about getting there first."
So we're waiting on y'all.
That's right.
That kind of ended the conversation. Kurt Ford, junior from Lafayette, Louisiana, has the Cougars on the board. Darvin Ham, not normally one to look to score, but when he does, he can get up there at a very entertaining slam dunker. 5-2 Tech.
And he does a lot of that scoring. Ham does, right down inside where you saw him get that. Oh, yeah!
Tim Moore. And the foul. He went up on Darvin Ham, and he quickly has 2 fouls.
Tim Moore, an all-conference player, shows you some of his stuff right here. Good move inside, protects the ball with his body. That followed a basket at the other end of the floor the last time down for Texas Tech by Darvin Ham. Very explosive inside player and a very strong player.
So just barely 2 minutes into the game, Ham has to take a seat. And it's a 3-point play for Moore, and it's a 5-5 game. Sasser, not one to look for threes very often.
And that's why Ford is playing him that way, giving him room outside.
Mark Davis gets inside. Janae Cooper has come on at center, a 6'8" sophomore from Killeen in place of Ham. Lob for Ford, and he's called for the offensive foul, a clearing elbow to get separation from Sasser.
Mark Davis, one of the more talented, versatile players in the Southwest Conference, takes this Imperial pass, makes a little fake, looks like he's going to make a bounce pass, and goes up and scores.
Height-size point guard matchup. Martin listed 5'10", probably 5'8", just like Tommy Davis. And the Cougar foul is on Tommy Davis. Now look at him right now, side by side. They look like twins. There is no way Martin's 2 inches taller than he is.
Yeah, that's a pretty even matchup at the point guard positions for these 2 teams.
Hughes already with 1 3, almost another, almost followed in. Cooper stays after it and does get it home.
That's good work, and that's the thing that Cooper needs to do coming off the bench. He doesn't have to be a big scorer with Hughes and Sasser in the ball game, and along with Davis, but he needs to be a rebounder and a defensive player.
Cougars, when they get organized and get into a rhythm, can do some damage offensively, but they have problems with long stretches where it's a one-on-one situation and you live and die off whoever is hot. In this case, Jones drives and misses.
If you watch Houston close enough, you'll see that a lot of what they get off of the dribble.
There's a three for Sasser. He won't very often venture outside that stripe. Tech with the good start, 12-5, and out of bounds off of the Cougars. Kirk Ford. Cougars move to get a big body in there, and it's Jermaine Johnson, 6'10", 245-pound junior from Washington, Louisiana.
He only played 13 minutes yesterday or last night, but he did a good job getting a body on Kurt Thomas.
3-on-1, the only defender back. He can only stand and watch as Sasser lays it in.
That's a good attack by Texas Tech. Good job of moving the ball. Well prepared for that press.
Johnson came in and fouled out in those 13 minutes, but Kurt Thomas afterwards was very complimentary of not only his play, but Alvin Brooks' decision to rotate all those big bodies and use the fouls on him. And he didn't make many free throws, 8 of 16. Houston again turned away. Threatening to break it open early. It's Mark Davis, and almost jammed in by Cooper. But I think they get Janae for coming over the back in his attempt to follow. Janae Cooper with the foul. 15:46 to play. Great start by Tech. They lead by 9.
Everyone's being so nice to me.
Honey, stay and watch the game. I'll go mow the lawn.
I mean, really nice.
Dad, I want to change my curfew from midnight to 11.
Too nice.
Everybody wants to be your friend because friends fly free on Southwest Airlines.
Hey, neighbor.
Make reservations and buy your round-trip ticket at our low, unrestricted fare.
Look, John, in my professional opinion, you're simply the nicest guy I've ever met. In fact, you're my favorite patient.
Friends fly free. Anywhere Southwest flies.
You know we've been together up and down the line. It just keeps getting better time after time. You're a part of me. That's the heart of me. Dr. Pepper, you're a part of me.
Hey everybody, you know something? Cars and trucks are like eggs. They're cheaper here in the country. Hi, I'm Ava Harvey here at Covert Chevy, Pontiac, Olds, and Buick. And here's what I'm talking about. Right now you can buy a 95 Geo Metro, 50 miles to the gallon, and look at this price, $85.88. Or if you like, you can pay just $140 a month. So if you're watching in Round Rock, Georgetown, Marble Falls, or especially Austin, make that short drive. Covert Chevy, Pontiac, Olds, Buick, Highway 71 between Austin and Bastrop. We'll see you here.
This telecast is a copyrighted presentation of the Southwest Conference, the University of Houston, Texas Tech University, and Raycom Incorporated, intended solely for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or the use of this telecast without express prior written consent is prohibited. 14-5, Texas Tech, 15:46 to play first half.
And Texas Tech playing some pretty good defense here early in this ball game. They are a good defensive team. They are a good rebounding team. They're a good club, period.
Jesse Drain slipping it inside for Johnson, knocked away, and he touched it last. So the Cougars having zero success working their half-court offense so far. 3 turnovers and 2 of 7 from the field. Sasser comes up and almost turns it over. Goes inside. He scores and draws a foul. So even the near mistakes turned into positive points for Tech.
Sasser is so clever inside with inside moves. He always finds a way to get the ball up and in. It's Sasser coming right at you. He loses it there. Picks up the loose ball, makes a nice ball fake, gets Johnson up in the air, number 50, and then scores and draws the foul.
Sasser, first team all-conference. He was the preseason player of the year, but back then no one had any idea what Kurt Thomas had in store, and that he would lead the nation in both scoring and rebounding.
What an accomplishment. Only the 3rd man in NCAA history to do so.
And in just a normal year, Sasser might have won that award. He averaged 20 points and 8 rebounds. Saved his best for last. Late in the season was unstoppable. Again, a Cougar turnover. Off the baseline. 17-5 Tech. Sasser up, having already shown the 3, hesitated outside the line. Goes up from about 12, and he drains that too.
Made a nice little fake. It looked like he was going to put it on the floor. He never did do that. Texas Tech really taking advantage of Houston turnovers, and Tech is forcing those turnovers.
Sasser 4 of 4, 10 points. 19-5.
See everything off the dribble. A lot of time being spent dribbling the basketball. Very little movement offensively by Houston so far.
And another turnover, offensive foul. Kurt Ford, he has 2. 14 unanswered points in just 3.5 minutes. They are doing it quickly. And Alvin Brooks has to call time here. 14.5 to go in the first half. And so far, all Red Raiders.
There are no prizes for giving someone a reason to smile. No ticker tape parades for unlocking life's little mysteries. But to the men who give their best every day, we offer our best. Gillette Sensor XL. Spring-mounted blades and microfins to set up your beard. And Gillette Series Aftershave Conditioner for extra comfort. Sensor XL, the world's best shave. And sometimes that's its own reward. Gillette, the best a man can get.
Football, basketball, and a whole lot more. Raycom, we deliver.
Well, Alvin Brooks had to burn a timeout really early with 14.5 minutes still to go in the first half, but with good reason. His team has had trouble even getting a shot off. They have turned it over 5 times, and Tech has scored every time. 10 points off those 5 turnovers. When they have gotten shots off, they've missed 5 of 7.
Well, Houston offensively in the half-court game is going to have to get some movement. They prefer to play a full-court game, run and shoot the basketball, but they haven't done that to this point. They need to get it into that flow because that's their strength.
Jason Martin patiently holding it outside. Looks for the hot hand of Sasser, 4 of 4, including just his 7th three-pointer of the year. It's Davis missing a turnaround, and an athletic rebound by Tim Moore, who averages 10.4 per game, one of the top rebounders in the country. He scores 20 per game. Three-pointer by Ford, and just what the Cougars were looking for. Maybe a little something to jumpstart them offensively.
Yeah, the quicker they shoot the ball, the better off they are, because they're a club that has a lot of good athletes. You need to take advantage of that athletic ability.
Sasser's first miss, getting close. Davis can't put it back in. Janae Cooper steals the rebound and scores.
You talk about an effort inside. There was no way that Cooper was going to get that rebound, but he didn't accept that. He went up after it anyway, tipped it to himself.
Ford, 5 of the 8 points for Houston, slips it inside to Galen Robinson. He barely rolls that one home. Freshman from Aldine MacArthur.
And he is playing much better late in the season, like they hoped he would play early in the year. Starting to come around a little bit, indicating he may be a good one next year.
Sasser missing again. Cooper there. Misses this follow. And out of bounds off Houston. Still Tech ball. On for the Cougars, Willie Bird, sophomore from Houston Reagan High School, and Coy Smith, the fine 6th man for Texas Tech, comes in for Jason Martin.
Willie Bird late in the year has been having a great effect on the ball game coming off the bench.
Stolen by Moore is a foot race with Coy Smith. And Moore wins the race. 21-12.
That's their game. That's the way they have to try and play. Get deflections, get steals, get up and down the floor. Yeah, there's a little contact going on between Willie Bird and Lance Hughes right there. It's a good move by the official. I don't think he called a foul. It's a no call. That is a real nice move by the official. He just blew the whistle and said, that's enough. I'm not going to have any more of that. You guys quit slapping at one another. As you look at Tim Moore, he stole the basketball, took it the length of the floor. There's that athleticism we talked about.
Ricky gets Hughes out. And Martin comes back in. 2 point guards really alongside Coy Smith in the backcourt. Davis, a drive and tried to get it to Sasser, not quite expecting it down there. Only the second turnover, make it the third turnover for Dickey's Red Raiders, who have led by as many as 14, but the Cougars come back within 9. Not quite 8 minutes into the game. Willie Bird, a dangerous pass, somehow manages to get it to Ford, and Ford travels as he tries vainly to get the handle.
I'm not sure that Ford traveled when he caught it, but I think that Bird traveled before he made the pass on the right wing. As you look at Alvin Brooks talking to the official, trying to say, give me a break.
These two also played last year. It was a first-round meeting, and Tech blew out Houston 110-86. 2 years ago, they played in the finals. Tech defeated Houston 88-76.
Good anticipation by Jones.
Mark Davis spinning and travels, so Mark Davis gives it right back on a walking violation.
You know, this is not unlike what we saw yesterday in the TCU game. TCU got off to a very, very good start and then appeared to have lost concentration. They lost focus. They never could get it back. Tech off to a very quick start here tonight. Now all of a sudden getting just a little bit sloppy.
Well, it's interesting because TCU, once they lost their focus, they never got it back, and they played what Billy Tutt said was their worst half of the season. Willie Bird, a little celebration dance with Damon Jones.
Coy Smith is first personal foul.
Foul is on Coy Smith.
Yeah, Houston's starting to get it going a little bit as you look at Willie Bird. Number 33 gets inside. Got it up and in. Look at this. We got a little celebration. We're going to catch up. Got to make free throws.
Well, cutting the lead from 14-7, something worth celebrating at last. Martin, who transferred after just 1 semester at Washington State, 2 years at the College of Eastern Utah. Sasser almost carried it. Out to Davis. He misses a three-pointer. Rebound into the hand of Jesse Drain, who's been very quiet so far.
Yeah, they've got to get shots for Jesse Drain in the half court, and they don't do that.
Sasser sneaking from behind. Robinson knocks that one out. Hughes will return for Texas Tech. Davis also back in for Houston, place of Bird. That's the guy who ultimately will have to show up big for Houston. If Tim Moore is controlled even slightly, Cougars probably have no chance. Robinson, a nice high floater from the high post.
He is playing much better. There's a guy that finally is beginning to settle down. It's awfully late in here for that to happen, but it's encouraging as you look to his future and Houston's future.
Hughes just misses his second three. Again, Cooper very effective on the offensive glass. He has 3 putbacks.
Well, I'll tell you what, Cooper's elevator went all the way to the top that time. He really did get up.
Much improved from his freshman year, mainly because he's bulked himself up 20 pounds from a year ago. Traveling before the jam by Moore. Moore so far 5 points. They've limited him to just 3 shots and only 1 shot attempt for Jesse Drain. So
Hughes throws it full court to Mark Davis. Nobody down the floor. Oh my. Mental mistake there. Alvin Brooks with his hands on his hips. Shows little reaction. You really can't say much at that point. It's a mistake. Oh, he traveled.
Davis still with it. Damon Jones flying along the baseline. No good. Cooper off to Martin. Tech really hasn't built much of this lead off transition. But more so than any other team in this league, they can live both ways. They're just as happy in a slow half-court game as they are when you have to score 108 or 110 to win. Which is why they should be a good tournament team. Sasser, 12 points.
You see the ball fakes that Sasser made inside. When I talked about his being clever with inside moves, you had a good look at what I meant.
Tim Moore showing his inside moves, and the foul is on Sasser, his first, team's fourth.
All-conference player Jason Sasser gets inside. Look at the good ball fake there. Then he fakes the pass to the right. Then he goes up straight over the top of the rim and scores.
Well, he revs just a few more RPMs than most people in this college game.
Plays heavy minutes too. He really is a pretty complete player. A lot of questions about whether or not he has good enough range to move out on the floor, face up, and play at the next level. But he's got another year to prove that.
That should be an interesting senior year because he has developed so much in his first 3 years. It's not hard to imagine that he can develop three-point range eventually.
That's right. You never know what a guy can do in some of those areas until he has to do it, and he hasn't had to do that.
He's already shown us here he can hit the shot. Almost carried it here. Gets it off to Martin. Martin a step on Davis. Underneath to Sasser, just off on the turnaround hook. Robinson clears to Davis. Finally a chance to get in transition for the Cougars.
That's the guy that's got to get shots. They got to get some shots for Jesse Drain.
Martin twice with the strip, finally ends up with it. It's Sasser all the way through and on the run. Made it look easy. Davis a hustling near steal, and he lands in the front row. Boy, the hustle and the intensity of Sasser is getting contagious.
Yeah, Martin, a good job. You see Martin with a deflection right there. And then it's Hughes. Looks like he might have got a piece of it. Martin in transition. Sasser on the receiving end of the pass. Look at this little floater. That's a tough shot when you're moving to the basket like that. Hitting those runners.
Boy, you're full speed. All of a sudden in midair, you put the brakes on. What body control. Bird strip, got it back. Raiders thought traveling, no call. Robinson scores.
I think that was correct because it was knocked out of his hands by a Tech player.
By Lance Hughes. Robinson coming off the bench with 6 points. They've needed him. And a Tech turnover. 29-19. 8 minutes, 11 seconds to go first half. Cougars' last victory in this tournament, 1992, a 91-72 finals victory over Texas. This is an offensive foul.
It's a block on Ford, I think.
No, they get Davis. I thought 3 on Ford.
Yeah.
Instead, 2 on Davis. Tommy Davis from Crenshaw High School in Los Angeles, among the top 3 high school programs in the nation last year. California state champions.
And he averaged double figures in assists playing for Crenshaw High School. They've had a lot of fine players, not any finer than Marcus Johnson, who played at UCLA and then in the NBA.
Davis. Robinson, who's made an impact offensively, coming down with the board, his second. Cougars can cut it to 7. Just missing the 3 was Bird and knocked out by Lucky that he didn't get called for going over Davis's back. A timeout, 7.5 to play first half. Texas Tech by 10.
It seems only natural in an area with everything from crabs to lacrosse to Congress that people would also have the advantages of living in a major financial center. And they do, because Nations Bank now covers the Mid-Atlantic like no other bank. So Can-Do Oil can have the widest range of commercial services. The Moores can have their finances at their fingertips. And everyone can have all the financial power they need just down the street or across the bay at Nations Bank.
Imagine a rent-a-car company that will pick you up right at your door. That's Enterprise. Call us. We'll arrange to come to you. Take you back to our office and you're on your way. Pick Enterprise. We'll pick you up.
They say there's nothing like the taste of a Dr. Pepper. But they have obviously never tasted a Diet Dr. Pepper. Discover what millions already have. The great taste of Diet Dr. Pepper.
Next up, the 1995 Air Show's Precision Jet Tuna Double Barrel.
And I thought their pizza was something.
They're spectacular in hot, mild, and now barbecue sauce. Call for any pizza and get a full order of our new chicken wings for $3.99.
Take the Gillette 3-point challenge. To enter, look for Gillette coupons in your Sunday newspaper or for Gillette displays at participating retailers. It's your shot at $1 million. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited.
Texas Tech with a huge advantage right now at this point in the game in the paint. As you look at Tom Penders, happy with that victory here earlier tonight over the Rice Owls. Tech has 18 points in the paint. Houston has only 10.
Tech living pretty well off the offensive glass, too. We're up 29-19, 7:20 to play in the half. Sasser thinking hard about his second three-pointer of the night. Instead, inside for Mark Boyd, who just came in, misses on the turnaround jump shot.
Houston has had several opportunities to cut it inside 10, but they have not been able to do that.
Moore deciding to challenge. Lloyd comes away with a block to Smith. Way up ahead to Lance Hughes, who didn't dunk it. I'm shocked.
That's a nice look by Coy Smith. He knew he was out front. He had to turn and throw the ball over his head and shoulder to get it down to Hughes, but he completed the pass.
The man who caused the dunk to be kept as an official stat at Texas Tech, just dropping it in plain vanilla. Jesse drained, still scoreless. Back up Moore. Tim Moore working hard underneath. 8 points off his 4th rebound, back within 10. Roy Smith, excellent three-point shooter, just off here. Another board for Tim Moore. Chance for Houston to get out and run, but Tech was ready for him. Mark Davis strips it and rolls over to Drain. Senior from Saginaw, Michigan, who in a lot of ways was at his best his freshman and sophomore years. Led the conference in three-point percentage as a sophomore. Dropped off to 38% last year, well below that this year.
Oh, they missed more inside just a minute ago.
Davis out of bounds to the Red Raiders. There was only 1 second on the shot clock anyway.
You've got to give the ball to Tim Moore when he's down low. Jesse Drain coming to the basket right here. He gets the shot, and there's Tim Moore operating inside. Number 3, he's an excellent offensive rebounder, and not only one of the finer offensive rebounders in this league, but he's one of the finer offensive rebounders in the nation. He works the offensive glass extremely well.
Davis double clutching off the spin, and touch last by Kirk Ford. Still belongs to Tech. Jason Martin returns for Coy Smith. Stay with us. Bob and I announce the Dr. Pepper player of the game at the conclusion of our telecast. Jason Sasser slipping free across the lane, and by the time they notice him, too late.
See, he did it again. He gets in there. He's real clever. His timing is good. Makes good ball fakes.
Moore starting to take over, and it's going to have to be him, it looks like, because nobody else really has anything cooking. 10 points for Moore to keep the Cougars within 10. Bird over the back of Lance Hughes, his first.
Because of the offense that Texas Tech runs and the versatility that it possesses, you frequently see the ball go inside to all of their people with the exception of Martin. That time it was Hughes. Sasser gets it down low. Davis gets it down low.
Hughes, a nice pull-up 10-foot jumper. You think of Hughes as a dunker or a three-point specialist. By his standards, a very short jump shot. Tech back up by 12. Notice how the Raiders always have their hands up defensively, and they come away with so many deflections and steals as a result.
They're a very athletic team, and they do have good hands. They have good hands and good feet, quickness in both those areas.
Davis awfully quick to get around Martin, and a foul inside. Bernard Lloyd going up for his first.
Bernard Lloyd really has that big body inside. He's extremely strong, very, very effective. He starts throwing that big body around. Speaking of big bodies, as you look at Robinson, just a freshman for Houston.
Jesse Train returns.
Led the Houston area in rebounding in high school for the last 3 years.
Jesse Drain back in for Kirk Ford. Robinson last year by 19 points, 14 boards, 4 blocks per game. The number 3 recruit in Texas. 7 points. Big contributor in this first half off the bench. 35-24. Sasser stripped by a backpedaling Tommy Davis. Wow, that's a play, and then he draws the foul by Sasser, his second.
That's excellent position defensively over on the sideline by Davis. That's a forced turnover, and Davis did it all by himself. It was Sasser who turned it over. Great position defensively.
Tech with its 7th team foul, so Houston in the 1-1. Davis so far scoreless on 0 of 2. They're not scoreless anymore. He is the nephew of the baseball player of the 1960s of the same name, who among his 10 major league stops spent some time in Houston, the Astros. Here comes Hughes. He and Martin break out. 4:20 in the half. Davis goes up, gets fouled by Jesse Drain, his first.
Davis with a great first step, just literally exploded on the baseline that time, trying to get to the glass. He has excellent quickness. Interesting point about Mark Davis. He's the kind of a guy that can beat you both horizontally and vertically. He can go up over the top of you. He can dunk the ball. He can rebound. He can also take the ball coast to coast. There are not a lot of those kind of guys. He's one of them.
Boy, it looked like Bernard Lloyd stayed after that rebound the longest, but it cuts Drain right before it went out, and Peck gets a break. Hughes slips inside, scores as he's undercut by Damon Jones. A sneaky inbounds basket by Hughes, now with 9 points.
Good execution on the out-of-bounds play. Lance Hughes at the line. You've mentioned several times about his ability to shoot the three and his ability to dunk the ball. He makes a good cut here, working off of his teammate, and it was a fine inbounds pass.
Tech with 3 scorers averaging better than 17.5 points per game. Hughes, Davis, and Sasser. They get you inside, outside, running, or slowing. Going for their 20th win of the year. Way wide by Davis, who said it was because he was fouled by Martin. Out of bounds to Tech with just under 4 minutes to play in the first half.
That's why they say he's more penetrator and scorer than shooter.
At this time, I'd like to recognize.
Look, a MasterCard won't make you different or unique, okay? Actually, maybe it will. I mean, millions of people use MasterCard, but yours is meant for you and you alone. So if someone steals it, instead of worrying about people running around pretending to be you, call right away and cancel it. Because, after all, there's only one you. What's more, even if somebody does manage to charge stuff to you, you won't pay a cent, and we may even be able to get you a new card the next day. But just for you. Now, how's that for a useful card? MasterCard, it's more than a credit card, it's smart money.
It's happening. Only the people who invented America's best-selling minivans could have a sale like this. The Chrysler Plymouth National Minivan Sale is here. Get $1,000 cash back on Plymouth Voyager, Roomier Grand Voyager, and Chrysler Town & Country. Chrysler minivan owners get an extra $500 back. Add that to option package values and get up to $2,600 off. But it won't last long. The Chrysler Plymouth National Minivan Sale. Only at the minivan store at your Chrysler Plymouth dealer.
There was no mistake about it. I was definitely in cruiser heaven. Even my wife looked somehow different. And there I was prowling the streets on the new Kawasaki Vulcan 800. V-twin rumbling, chrome gleaming in the sun. Is this for real? Or am I just dreaming?
The Vulcan 800 from Kawasaki. It's as real as it gets.
Sasser came out of Dallas Kimball High School as the Texas Player of the Year, most coveted recruit in the state, and proof positive that he is living up to his billing and promise and potential. 7 of 10, 16 first half points.
He's had a great career to this point at Texas Tech, and he continues to work at his game and expand his game. If he can develop greater consistency with a perimeter shot, although, you know, we really don't know that he's inconsistent. We don't see him shoot it a lot.
He's just not forced to.
Yeah, he doesn't have to.
Why take the 20-footer when you can get the 5-footers? He most of the time can. Three-pointer, Lance Hughes, second. And Tech explodes to their biggest margin yet, 41-25.
At the top of the show, we talked about Sasser and Hughes. Sasser with 16, Hughes with 13.
Robinson with a nice move to get an easy shot, and it barely draws iron. Tech trying to sprint to the finish line here in the first half. And put Houston in a deep hole at intermission. They turned it over.
Over the top with the pass, Lance Hughes. That ball looked like it was never going to get there, but Lance Hughes picks it up. Nothing but net.
Join us in the second half for the Pizza Hut delivery of the game. Lance Hughes 2 years ago when Tech won this tournament in an upset. The surprise tournament MVP as a sophomore. Robinson right in the face of Bernard Lloyd, who got ball and hand, his second foul.
He got a lot of leather. Look at Lloyd. There's Robinson, the freshman, turned, and Lloyd was right there initially. Looked like he got a lot of leather.
He got both.
He must have. The whistle blew.
Jalen Robinson holds 14 MacArthur High School records at All Duty. And a very promising freshman class for them when you consider how much time he's getting. Davis and Jones, the two starting guards, both true freshmen. Interesting to see where they are 2-3 years from now. Like Sasser and Smith's freshman class from 2 years ago. Hughes with the runner. Had it around, touch last. Tech. Although with Tommy Davis staying after it the way he was, a lot of the fans thought it went off his fingertips.
Look at James Dickey. What an animated response from James Dickey in his 4th year at Texas Tech. Won his first conference championship this year in a tie with Texas.
Or was that a telling stat? Only 3 assists on Houston field goals. So everything one on one, and that is not a good sign. That's not something you can contain and sustain for any length of time if you're trying to play upset-minded basketball team as good as Texas Tech.
Houston very dribble-oriented. You just watch them, and they spend a lot of time putting the ball down on the hardwood, creating opportunities. Not a lot of time in movement without the ball.
They're 43% on 10 of 23. Raiders 53% on 18 of 34. And Houston never even looks at the bucket as the shot clock expires.
They had no idea what was left on the shot clock that time when they came inbounds with the ball. That is another mental mistake, and those kinds of things will just kill you. Physical mistakes obviously hurt you, don't want to make them, but the mental mistakes just take you out of ball games. Texas Tech really taking control of this one now.
Well, a Roderick Anderson three, not quite there for Hughes. Loose ball, lucky bounce to Bernard Lloyd. Right place, right time. Davis jumps over Moore and drops it home.
Great body control going to the basket. He avoided the charge. Mark Davis.
Moore misses on the answer. Lloyd with the board. We enter the last minute and a half of the first half, and Tech blowing the Cougars out by 18 points. Davis just 3 of 10 from the field. The only Red Raider under 50% who's played any length of time. Missed by Drain. Running rebound for Jason Martin. As he got Tommy Davis briefly off balance, he also lost his footing. Just long enough to make him decide to pull it on out.
James Dickey wanted to run a little bit of clock with this possession as it gets down inside a minute.
Hughes rebounded by Cooper. Martin fouled by Davis after he showed 3. Tommy Davis has 3 fouls already.
Tommy Davis, his 3rd personal foul.
Mark Davis, 3 of 10, 6 points, 4 boards.
Here's how Mark Davis can beat you horizontally. In other words, he can beat you going to the basket. He can also beat you vertically with his ability to dunk the ball, get up on the offensive board. A very good player on a good Texas Tech team.
As Lloyd goes for this one. He and Johnson collide, and Alvin Brooks up to protest this foul call on Jermaine Johnson. Rather vociferously. I think he really wants a technical right here.
No, I don't think he does. If he wants a technical, all he's got to do is come out on the floor and he'll get it. Just come out far enough.
Well, they call it a double foul. Both Johnson and Lloyd. Lloyd now with 3. 47 seconds in the half. Cooper. Whoa, from behind. Swatted away by Tim Moore.
He was waiting in the woods for that one. I mean, Tim Moore behind. You see him behind. He goes up there. That's not unlike a block he had last night against Kurt Thomas.
Big hand for Lloyd, who's played well. He comes out, and freshman Tony Batty from Dallas's South Oak Cliff High School is in. 18 on the shot clock. 18 is the margin.
Hughes is hurt, I think. His right arm, or his right shoulder. Hughes has got to come out of the ball game.
No 20-second timeouts in the postseason. That was an experimental rule, but the officials have noticed Hughes' predicament, so they call time with 18.8 seconds to go, and he will head straight to the bench and be replaced by Mark Davis.
He took a shot in that right shoulder, it looks like. Throw some ice on that thing right now.
Shot clock at 6 through the legs of Batty. Turns it back over to Houston. 17.4 seconds.
Taking a long time to play this last minute, Dave.
The shoulder of Hughes apparently not out of joint or anything, because he was just able to reach up, touch the back of his head. That's a good sign. Jesse Drain finally on the board. 3 seconds almost through the hands of Davis and out of bounds.
Ford had to steal.
Stolen by Ford.
Yeah, I mean, he had to steal. He had the ball in his hands. I don't know how he didn't catch it.
Hughes over there told his coaches he felt the shoulder pop, but he's rotating it, and it looks like it's in joint. As Martin banks the 3 from 40 feet at the buzzer. Jason Martin gives the Red Raiders a 19-point halftime lead, and he does it in spectacular fashion.
There it is. Martin doesn't shoot the ball very often, and he never shoots it from there, but watch the end of that one.
Oh, maybe he should. That's a shot. Finally found a shot. Halftime, 46-27. Texas Tech all over Houston.
Under the direction of Robert Mays and the Cougar Dolls under the direction of Diane.
Southwest Conference basketball on Raycom is brought to you by Nations Bank. By the new Plymouth Neon. By Pizza Hut. And by MCI. Our halftime show continues after these messages.
Sweet dream, baby. Sweet dream, baby. Sweet dream, baby. How long
It's happening. Only America's hottest car company could have a sale like this. The National Chrysler Plymouth sale is here. Get up to $1,200 off the friendly Plymouth Neon. Over $1,600 off the luxury family sedan Chrysler Concorde. And over $1,800 off the luxurious Chrysler New Yorker. Now's the time to save like never before. But it won't last long. The National Chrysler Plymouth sale. Only at your Chrysler Plymouth dealer.
Green, green, it's green they say.
Crabgrass can ruin the look of a beautiful course like this, unless you know what you're doing. You've got to stop crabgrass early, before it starts. I tell people to do the same thing at home with Scott's Turf Builder Plus Halts. Every patented particle greens your lawn and has the most effective crabgrass preventer you can buy. Use it now and stop crabgrass before it starts. There is a difference in fertilizers, the Scott's difference.
Best things are forever. The thrill is never gone. And the future's ours together. Let's keep it going on. You're the part of me. That's the heart of me. Dr. Pepper, you're a part of me.
Whatever your dreams, from being a teacher or business leader, whatever your plans, from working to graduate or professional school, whatever your needs and goals, there is something here for you at the University of Houston. For more than 65 years, UH has helped turn dreams into realities. The University of Houston, Houston's University.
When I was a kid, cars fascinated me. I always wanted to know what made them work. Well, I found out what made them work, and then some. I'm using some of the most advanced testing equipment in the world to find ways to make the cars of tomorrow more efficient. Just imagine what I'll be doing when I get out of college.
Texas Tech with a 19-point lead at halftime of our second semifinal, 46-27 over the Houston Cougars. And time for the Dr. Pepper Roundup as we check out other tournament action around the country. Big East quarterfinals, Georgetown wins and Connecticut barely survives over Pittsburgh 81-78 in New York's Madison Square Garden. The other quarterfinals, Villanova by 4 over Boston College and Syracuse 27-20 up on Providence in the first half. In the ACC quarterfinals in Greensboro, Virginia by 10 over Georgia Tech, Wake Forest by 17 over Duke. North Carolina by 16 over Clemson, and Florida State upsetting Maryland at the half, 36-32. Big 8 quarterfinals, Kansas City, the biggest margin of victory in the history of that tournament, 90-45 for Kansas over K-State, 68-50 Iowa State upsets number 17 Missouri. Oklahoma State easily advances past the Huskers, and Colorado hanging with Oklahoma so far. In the WAC semis in Albuquerque, Hawaii by 5 second half. Colorado State coming from way back in that one. Utah, New Mexico will be later on. In the SECs in Atlanta, Arkansas by 1 over Vanderbilt, and Kentucky 93-81 advances past Auburn. Alabama has defeated Georgia 68-57 for the Tide, and Mississippi State and Florida play later on. In the Big West quarterfinals, New Mexico State eliminates UNLV. Long Beach State by 3 over Cal Santa Barbara. Great Midwest in Milwaukee. Cincinnati by 13 over Memphis. And the home Marquette Warriors trailing 28-18 to St. Louis in the first half. Colgate wins the Patriot League championship. In the Metro first round, Louisville 84-61 over Virginia Commonwealth in Louisville. Tulane by 9 over South Florida. And Southern Miss 82-66 a winner over Virginia Tech. Mid-America semis, Ball State over Miami of Ohio. Eastern Michigan in the second half leading Ohio U by 9, 65-56. And in our first half, 46-27 Texas Tech. We'll have highlights after this.
Only those with superhuman ability may enter my court. I got that.
It's waiting for you at the finish line.
Considering what your business has to figure,
25 on the 30. How much time we got left?
you may not have figured that if your business uses AT&T, you're probably on the wrong calling plan. Over half of AT&T's customers are, which is why hundreds of thousands of businesses are trading in AT&T and investing in Proof. MCI will analyze your AT&T bill and give you proof positive, written proof of how much your business can save by switching to MCI, proving once again the only savings that are true are the ones you can see.
It's time now for our MCI Proof Positive Play of the Week. The Texas Longhorns needed a win in this game against Rice to continue their hopes of sharing the Southwest Conference title. And it's a solid performance from beginning to end. In the second half, Roderick Anderson makes the slick pass to Rich McIver, and the Horns have put this game away. Texas saves a share of the title, gets the top tournament seed, and Anderson and McIver receive honors for the Southwest Conference MCI Proof Positive Play of the Week.
How long did I take Tylenol? Forever. Still take it for aches and pains, but for headaches, major lifestyle change. Now I take Excedrin. How come? Excedrin relieves headaches better than Tylenol. Do I feel unfaithful? No. I still use Tylenol for stuff. But for headaches, I mean, it doesn't take a genius. If Excedrin's better, you use Excedrin.
Excedrin, the headache medicine.
When I graduate, I want to be president.
Secretary of Treasury. Secretary of State. Secretary of Education. HUD Secretary. Secretary of Treasury. Well, that's okay. Secretaries really run things anyway. At the schools of the Southwest Conference, ordinary men and women learn to be extraordinary.
Now it's time for the Chrysler Plymouth Championship Challenge. During halftime of Southwest Conference games on Raycom, viewers were given the chance to vote on the team they believed would win the conference race. The winner, based on a random drawing from all correct entries, is Christy Richards. Christy wins a VIP trip for two to the DirecTV Grade 8 tournament at the Palace in Auburn Hills next season. Thanks to all of you for participating, and once again, congratulations to Christy, winner of the Chrysler Plymouth Championship Challenge. We'll return to Reunion Arena in Dallas with more of our halftime show after these messages from your local station. This is the Raycom Network.
Maxwell's got the Jeeps, man. Maxwell's got the Jeeps. When we ordered our spring inventory of Jeeps, we went overboard. Over 60 Jeeps available and more on the way. Grand Cherokee, Wranglers, and Cherokees. People who know Jeeps know Maxwell's got the Jeeps. Now it's time to move them out. So Maxwell is slashing prices. You can't find a great deal on a new Jeep if you know where to look. The only place to look is at Maxwell, Chrysler, Plymouth, Dodge, Jeep Eagle. Maxwell's got the Jeeps. Two-wheel, four-wheel, everyone's a good deal. Maxwell's got the Jeeps.
Remember when your mother used to follow you around, cleaning up after you? Nice, wasn't it? Time to grow up. These days, if you don't clean up after yourself, no one else will. About half of Texas air pollution comes from motor vehicles, but propane burns clean. Propane is made right here in Texas, and it's cheap. That's better. And hey, your mother would be proud of you. For more information, call 1-800-64-CLEAR. Oh, Mom.
A dealership can tell your best friend to shop. Capital Chevy Geo.
Service requirement at Capital Chevy Geo was fantastic. We went in there for some warranty work. They got us in, they got us out, and the work was done right. It was just really fantastic. I don't see myself going anywhere else except Capital Chevy Geo from now on because the prices, the quality, the service.
Capital Chevy Geo. Capital Chevy Geo.
It is 46-27 Tech over Houston at halftime here at Reunion Arena. Dave Barnett, Bob Ortegold. This has gone, unlike the first game tonight, pretty much close to form.
Yeah, Texas Tech is really dominating the ball game at both ends of the floor. I think it's their defense as much as anything that's created problems for Houston. Houston has absolutely no sync with their half-court offensive game. They're battling the boards hard, but Tech a difficult team for Houston to beat.
Well, the first half highlights brought to you by Dr. Pepper. It's all Jason Sasser, 16 points for the junior from here in Dallas.
Yeah, this looks like a Jason Sasser highlight film right right here. Sasser hitting shots outside, inside. There he is on the left side of the floor and drains a three with that one. Here's Sasser coming right at you, loses the ball, but gets it back here. Always clever with a ball fake. Gets Johnson up in the air and then goes up and uses the glass very effectively. Sasser extremely effective inside with a variety of different moves, but look at him defensively. He triggers that defensive steal, is on the receiving end of the pass, and then hits the runner and the floater on the way to the glass.
With Reunion Tower twinkling in the background, we'll be ready for the start of the second half when we return to Dallas in a moment.
Went out to buy a car. Dad said good luck. Saw my new Ford Ranger and said,
Son, that's a truck.
My girlfriend loves the new inside. Now all she wants to do is ride. Mom sees the airbag and takes heart. Finally her boy's getting smart. My best friend pops the hood. Look for horsepower. That's good. Well, my boss says it takes the cake. A truck with anti-lock brakes. Oh yeah, my Ford Ranger's really hot stuff. Now Dad asks,
Can I borrow the truck?
It's the place to catch some of baseball's first pitches and where people love to throw themselves into the game. But the town of Sarasota, Florida is also a major financial center because it's served by Nations Bank, which lets Albert and Fruit Company pick from the widest range of commercial services, gives families like the Piles greater investment options, and helps people keep all their bases covered in Sarasota and in 1,900 other communities throughout our nation.
Funny thing about March Madness, as more teams drop out, more friends drop in. Fewer teams, more friends. Good thing Pizza Hut has the March Madness meal deal. Buy any large regular price pizza and we'll throw in a dozen free buffalo wings plus a free NCAA tournament guidebook. Because by the time only 2 teams are left, you're gonna have a lot of friends. The March Madness meal deal.
Imagine an antiperspirant that keeps a man feeling as clean and fresh as this all through the day. Well, this is it. Ban for Men Clear Antiperspirant. Clean and fresh because it goes on clear. And Ban for Men sets up a clear shield of protection that fights wetness and odor for a full 24 hours. Feel this clean. Feel this fresh. Try Ban for Men Clear Antiperspirant.
Southwest Conference basketball on Raycom is brought to you by MCI. By Ford and your Ford dealers. By Nations Bank. And by Ban for Men. Texas Tech dominated Houston about every way you can in that first half. Of Akita first half stats, they outshoot them 50 to 42%. Free throws not really that much of a factor. Let's look at the Ford game plan for the second half.
Houston's got to give more and more. Tim Moore, that is. Drain some shots for Texas Tech. Take care of business. Get that, folks, as in NCAA bid. And get some second chance points. By that, I mean they've got to continue to dominate the boards. Don't allow Houston to take control of the backboards.
Individually, really, only a couple guys had it going for the Cougars. Tim Moore, 10 points and 7 boards, and Galen Robinson was outstanding in 9 minutes off the bench. 3 of 4, 7 points. And a totally different story for Texas Tech. They're dominated by Sasser, but he got some help. 16 points, 13 by Hughes, who says that his shoulder's apparently okay to start the second half. And Mark Davis didn't shoot well, but he did everything else. 6.6 assists, 4 rebounds, and the possibility of his third triple-double looms with a similar output in the second half. Houston ball to begin it. Jesse Drain, very quiet throughout the first half, throws up an air ball to begin the second. And Darvin Ham, who sat most of that half after picking up 2 early fouls, back in for Texas Tech.
And we didn't mean that Jesse Drain should get those kinds of shots.
Well, Sasser's had about every kind he wants, made most of them. Houston hasn't done much damage in transition, which means they haven't done much, period.
They had only 26 first half shots.
Not a team that can do a whole lot playing the slowdown pace. Out of bounds, still Cougar ball. The big edge that the Tech rolled up was on the offensive glass, 12-3 in favor of Texas Tech. And overall 27-13 in total rebound. Houston shot only 11 of 26, 42%, 20 of 40.
Dribble
percent for Tech.
Dribble, 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 and more dribble. You've got to move without the basketball and pass the ball. And that's what Houston is not able to do. They're constantly putting the ball down. It's hard to win that way, and it's hard to get good shots.
Moore back to Jones. Tough shot. They're getting in close, but they take those shots in crowds, so they're really not high percentage shots. And Hughes tries to drop it off for Sasser, not out of bounds. Do you think that betrays a lack of confidence in each other when you talk about the Cougars all trying to go one-on-one simultaneously?
Not always. I think what it results in more than anything is confusion. I'm not sure that they're really in sync. Oh my, oh my.
Ham slamwich.
Hey, what? I know.
From last week.
Ham slamwich. Boy, this guy can really elevate with strength. Watch Darvin Ham. Great rebound. Look at that. My, oh my. Sasser grabs a hold of him, smacks him. Ham turns around to make sure it was one of his teammates that did it.
Plays a whole lot bigger than 6'7", 220. Goes all the way back to Saginaw, Michigan with Jesse Drain. Head-to-head many years growing up there. That one out of bounds and touched last by Mark Davis.
I made a statement yesterday in talking about Houston spending so much time dribbling the ball. They do have some talent, but confusion, Dave, is the death of all talent. You just have to know what it is you want to get accomplished out there collectively.
Well, Tim Moore, ever since he arrived mid-season a year ago, has made Houston competitive and occasionally dangerous. And tonight they're just struggling to get back to the competitive level.
And the reason I'm surprised a little bit here at Houston tonight is I thought they played very well yesterday afternoon in upsetting TCU, but they were really getting it off of the press and turnovers. And of course TCU did not shoot well at the free throw line. Very unusual for that ball club, and it cost them.
Yeah, they got some help from the Frogs, and the Raiders have not been quite so generous a move tonight.
I think Billy Tubbs said it well when he said it's hard to win a basketball game when you shoot 56% from the free throw line, and that's very true. And they have been a good free throw shooting team all year. One of the country's best. I think they're in the top 20 in free throw shoot, 11th or 12th.
Jason Sasser picks up his third foul. 17 plus to go, and that's an offensive foul, and that's number 4 on Tommy Davis.
And see, that's the good defense again by Texas Tech. Tech does a good job in a lot of different areas in the game of basketball. They play good team defense. They play good individual defense. They move the ball around well. They're athletic. They can run. They can jump. And they can slow it down. They can play a half-court game if they have to, and that's what they're going to do right now. Let's see if they get a good shot. There you go. They did a double pick for Hughes.
Sore shoulder and all. Lance Hughes with his third three-pointer. He has 16 points, matching Sasser for game high. 52-29, the biggest lead yet for Tech, 23. Ford's three-pointer rebounded by Drain, and a much more intent and active Jesse Drain in the second half. Played well yesterday, 14 points, 10 boards. That'll be on Tim Moore, riding Sasser in the backcourt, his first.
Lance Hughes coming off a double pick. You see him there. There's a double pick there. He comes off of that pick, doesn't need a lot of daylight, gets enough to get it up, and it is another three.
Lance tonight has passed Jim Reed and is the number 3 all-time scorer in Tech history. Needed just 4 points before this game began. 16 and counting. It's open for another three-pointer. And he also thought he was fouled by Drain. He wanted that to turn into a 4-point play. Tech by 24. Loose ball, and even as quick as Martin is, he can't quite chase that one down.
Lance Hughes likes to play in Reunion Arena in the Dr. Pepper Southwest Conference Classic. There he is outside again. The other time he came to the right, and the left-hander shot it and made a three-pointer. This time going to the left. He receives the pass, rises and drains that shot.
Burr Ford, a transfer from Midland Junior College. He's a junior. Jesse Drain playing his final collegiate game, so not surprising that he would try to pick up his level here in the second half. He is doing so. 55-33. Became a Tech blowout late in the first half. Why not try another one? This one just off for Hughes. Damon Jones with a board. He'll step back and nail the three-pointer. First points tonight for Damon. Who missed his first 4 attempts. 55-36. Sasser dribbles away from Moore. And didn't expect it.
Martin, the point guard, quick to go and say, look, give it to me and get down inside where you belong so I can run the show. Will you please?
And look who gets free inside. Sasser, no. Rebound battle is won by the shooter. And Sasser partially blocked going up. Taken down by Drain. Alley-oop more from Damon Jones.
That may be the play of the tournament so far. I thought the ball was going out of bounds. Moore just kept going up. I mean, he never stopped rising.
14:59 to go. And Houston at least making it entertaining.
Everyone's being so nice to me.
Honey, stay and watch the game. I'll go mow the lawn.
I mean, really nice.
Dad, I want to change my curfew from midnight to 11.
Too nice.
Everybody wants to be your friend because friends fly free on Southwest Airlines.
Hey, neighbor.
Make reservations and buy your round-trip ticket at our low, unrestricted fare.
Look, John, in my professional opinion, you're simply the nicest guy I've ever met. In fact, you're my favorite patient.
Friends fly free. Anywhere Southwest flies.
Imagine a rent-a-car company that will pick you up right at your door. That's Enterprise. Call us. We'll arrange to come to you. Take you back to our office, and you're on your way. Pick Enterprise. We'll pick you up.
Is it Diet Dr. Pepper or regular Dr. Pepper? This highly sensitive piece of equipment can't tell. But more importantly, neither can this one. Discover what millions already have, the great taste of Diet Dr. Pepper.
We thought about how race cars have to maneuver through heavy traffic. And then we thought, so do you. Race cars have to respond quickly. And so do you. But race cars have double wishbone type suspensions for precise, predictable control. Well, when you buy a new Dodge Stratus, so do you. New Dodge Stratus. It's full of answers.
See your Texas Dodge dealer today.
Well, it's a blowout, but here's proof positive that as long as Tim Moore is on the floor, keep your eyes open.
Watch him go up. That's a great catch in the air, and what a dunk by Tim Moore. Let's see if Houston can use that as any kind of a springboard at all and maybe get some defensive pressure going. That's the kind of game they have to play. Jones came down just a minute ago, backed off, shot a three very quickly. Houston in transition that time with a pass over the top. That's the way they are most effective.
Well, they know where the problems are. You just saw them. Hughes and Sasser by themselves almost outscoring the entire Houston team. 55-38. We go under 15 minutes to play in the second half. Hughes and Ford really colliding, moving without the ball. A lot of banging going on there. And again, they got to trade shoves as Hughes tries to separate.
Yeah, if you're Hughes, you want to be careful. You don't want something to happen out there.
Jason Martin takes it into the teeth of the Cougar interior defense. Draws the foul by Moore, his second.
Tim Moore, his second.
There's a look at Tim Moore standing on the floor. He doesn't do a lot of that. He's usually in the air, jumping around someplace.
Team would really have some serious problems without Tim Moore's ability to take over games for stretches the way he has all season. 18 double-doubles, 19 points, 15 boards yesterday. Their style, as we point out, is so one-on-one oriented that they got to have some people who can really do that and dominate at it. And he's their leading practitioner by far.
Martin putting some pressure on Jones. Oh, they got it bowled. Sasser had a steal, lost it. There's better movement without the ball that time. How they get it down, end up getting shots off the dribble so frequently.
Kirk Ford cut off by good rotation defense by Ham, so he goes up high, and that's Galen Robinson's favorite spot tonight. 9 points off the bench for the freshman.
Robinson looks like a nice 15 to 18-foot jump shooter.
Really does. Very impressive since coming in middle of the first half. Tech looking for victory number 20. And that's going to help. Mark Davis with a three.
That's the versatility of Davis again. Going to the basket, dunking the ball, shooting the three.
Jones comes down and double dribbles. Turnover number 13 by Houston.
I think that's the strength of Tech. Hughes can do that. Sasser can do that. Mark Davis can do that. Look at him. There's Davis shooting the perimeter shot. They can all do both. They can create, they can shoot the perimeter, they can go to the basket. That time it's Davis inside. Rebounding the basketball, he loses it out of bounds.
Sasser not shy about threes. He was just 6 of 31 for the entire year shooting threes. Has one tonight and has been very close on a couple of others. Willie Bird coming in for Drain. 19-point game, 13 plus to play. Texas won our first semifinal barely, 78-75 over Rice. Moore on the feed from Willie Bird. Then Moore, 16 points, 7 of 10 from the field and 7 rebounds. And a fly pattern for Sasser. They worked that play to perfection in the first half, and this time Moore reads it just in time to break up the pass.
You got to get that pass up just a little bit higher. You want the trajectory to be so that the receiver can take it in stride. Oh, Sasser looked like he was open on the out-of-bounds play.
Hughes fouled as he goes baseline and is ripped away by Willie Bird, but well after the whistle. Whistle is on Willie Bird. He has 2.
Willie Bird, his second personal foul.
Texas in that first game needed a 3-pointer by Roderick Anderson, his 5th of the game, to come from 2 back, and then 2 clinching free throws by Brandy Perryman, who finally outbattled Rice, led much of the way. Texas scored the last 6 points to win at 78-65. Ham is rejected by Moore, got way up, and it came down to Sasser.
You know, Darvin Ham can really get up in the air. He extended and was up very well, and Moore still blocked that shot.
First points of the half by Sasser, stolen by Davis. Gets around Ford, drops it around and in.
Davis.
They are athletic, Dave. Texas Tech. That's going to be a fine Southwest Conference final tomorrow, Saturday afternoon, if it's Tech and Texas.
Jones, another long three-pointer. Alley-oop, Davis off to Jones. Cougars have a 2-on-1. Jones to Ford. They settle for the easy 2. 7 for Kirk Ford. 63 to 47.
Texas Tech.
And James Dickey sees Houston with a little bit of a spurt, cut the lead from 24 down to 16. He wants timeout with 11:48 to play.
Did you ever wonder what life is like on other planets? Like maybe there's this world where everybody can slam dunk? and everyone gets a Ford Ranger just for being born. Or there's a planet where nothing costs more than $1 and your biggest decision is what color probe to drive. Maybe there's a world where everybody's job is just to go to the beach and you get a Mustang convertible as a company car. Ford. Cool cars for a cool planet.
When you grow up in the American Southwest, once a day you feel a soul-shaking sense of awe. And there's another feeling you get when the sun disappears. You're scared out of your ever-loving mind. Or maybe that's what inspired La Quinta to make their inn so friendly. Outside, they're lit up against the night sky, and inside, a soft splash is about the only sound you'll hear. Shh. La Quinta Inns. Why aren't you here?
There was no mistake about it. I was definitely in cruiser heaven. Even my wife looked somehow different. And there I was, prowling the streets on the new Kawasaki Vulcan 800. V-twin rumbling, chrome gleaming in the sun. Is this for real? Or am I just dreaming?
The Vulcan 800 from Kawasaki. It's as real as it gets.
Football, basketball, and a whole lot more. Raycom, we deliver.
Tonight's game brought to you in part by the Texas Lottery, and tomorrow's Lotto Texas estimated jackpot is $28 million.
Dave, it's a good chance to mention something about a friend of yours, a friend of mine, a friend of Raycom's, I guess a friend of everybody that's in this industry. I'm talking about Frank Fallon, who is retiring at Baylor University. Actually, he's going to continue in a teaching capacity, but retiring as the voice of the Bears at Baylor. He's done that for 42 or 43 years. Frank Fallon, there is a whole lot of basketball, football fans, sports fans, people in the media that just want to say thank you for a job well done. You've been a class act from beginning to end. We wish you and June well in all future years.
Boy Smith, and boy, do I second that. And luckily, when we watch the Final Four, we'll still get to hear Frank. He will continue on as the public address voice of the Final Four. Offensive foul by Willie Bird.
There will be a dinner honoring Frank in June. I believe it's June 16th in Waco. I do plan on being there, and it ought to be a sellout, and it ought to be one big celebration.
Jason Sasser takes it in. I think a lot of us are looking forward to that chance to formally recognize Frank's many accomplishments.
Yeah, I'll tell you what I'm anxious to see. I'm anxious to see if Dave Barnett can last as long as Frank Fallon did. 42 or 43 years. You got a ways to go, my friend.
Yeah, I'm kind of anxious to see if I can last 20.
I'd
settle for 20 right now.
I did my first television Raycom game at Lubbock. It was a Texas Tech game with Frank Fallon, who arrived about 3 minutes before we went on the air. And I was never so happy to see another man in all of my life. I just about gave him a big hug.
And he's glad you didn't. He was probably completely seamless. You never noticed any edges at all around Frank's work.
No, we hooked him up. He picked up the microphone and he opened the telecast like nothing had ever happened. By the way, he wasn't late because of anything Frank had done. There were weather problems. He had difficulties getting into Lubbock on that particular Saturday afternoon. But that was 10 years ago when I worked my first game for Raycom. And once again, Frank, thousands of people would like to extend their gratitude to you.
Kirk Ford committed the foul, and Darvin Ham makes it 66-47. Under the 11-minute mark. Ford. Jumpers just not dropping for the Cougars tonight. Coy Smith, long lead. Saved somehow by Yazzie. Hurls it into the third row.
James Dickey just furious with Coy Smith for even wanting to attempt that pass. What he wants right now is control. There's still an awful lot of time left in this game. Better than 10 minutes to go. You don't want to get into a rhythm where you're creating a lot of bad habits and making silly mistakes. Sometimes that carries over.
Tim Moore, nicely done on the reverse. 18 points for Moore. Stay with us. Bob and I announced the Dr. Pepper Player of the Game at the conclusion of our telecast. I think if Dickey could get this lead back up another 8-10 points, he would like to rest some people. His 4:30 is going to come pretty early tonight. The third game of as many days. I've seen a lot of teams come in favored in this tournament, just totally run out of whatever fueled them in those first few rounds on Sunday or Saturday, whenever the final might happen to fall.
And it's so much more than just the physical side of it, too. It's the mental and the emotional draining that you experience, especially when your goals and objectives are the NCAA tournament. Players don't always sleep well. They're anxious to get to the playing floor. And frequently in the last 5 to 10 minutes of ball games, that fatigue factor does set in.
Tech had a chance to get some national recognition early in the season. Very narrow losses on the road to some good teams. Wisconsin, Arizona, Temple in double overtime. Had they won any of that group of games, I don't think they'd be still considered a double team. And yet there they are. And again, the vibes they were getting from the NCAA folk were that they needed this win to get in. And it looks like they're going to get it to improve to 20-8 for the season. First foul of the game on Lance Hughes to put Willie Bird on the line.
You mentioned some of those early season non-conference losses that Tech experienced. I think that hurt them for a while. It lingered in their minds, I believe. They couldn't shake off having lost some of those games. And had a period of time where they struggled. But keep in mind, they had finished awfully strong, winning 10 of their last 11 games, tying for the Southwest Conference Championship. Over the top goes Texas Tech. Sasser all the way to the hole and scores.
And foul by Drain, his fourth. Boy, they like that fly pattern. They've run it 3 or 4 times. Dropped almost every single opportunity.
Houston is vulnerable now because all 10 people are in the back court. You see all 10 people in the back court, so you can go over the top. And Sasser does just that. The pass is completed. He does get the basket and will go to the line.
It would be nice to see this guy get a forum if they do indeed get into the NCAA. A little-known gem. Jason Sasser. Here comes Galen Robinson in for Drain. Departs with 4 fouls.
Sasser was Mr. Basketball his senior year in the state of Texas, the Class 5A Player of the Year.
He's getting the second shot because of the lane violation, and he doesn't convert that one either. Alley-oop. Missing the jam was Ford, but it comes down to Jones. Bird, a nice up fake. He can't score, but he's fouled.
James Dickey not pleased with the defensive transition. Houston literally just beat Tech down the floor that time. You can see the scowl on his face. I'll tell you, it was a real focused Texas Tech team last night. Defensively, they really came out and got after it. We saw that again here tonight, and I anticipate that that will continue. They're where they want to be now.
I think that they went after SMU with such a vengeance because of what happened last Saturday at TCU. They had a chance to wrap up the regular season title, win it outright, win the top seed, and lost by 2. Their only loss in these last 11 games, 108-106.
I think the other thing that was motivating against SMU, I think James Dickey, I know he was very unhappy with their second half performance against the Mustangs at SMU when SMU came back and actually took a lead in that ball.
They have led by as many as 24 here. 17 with 9.5 remaining, 69-52. Smith, Hughes for Lloyd inside. Nice cut inside by Davis. Lloyd picks it up and resets. 15 on the shot clock.
Good cut, as you mentioned, a fine pass by Hughes. Davis just didn't catch that one. That's unusual. He caught that one.
Davis is hacked as he gets past Willie Bird. Bird now with his 4th foul, and that's 10 team fouls against the Cougars, so they're all 2-shot fouls the rest of the way for Tech.
Willie Bird, his 4th personal foul. Team foul number 10.
You see Davis' movement without the basketball. He was going from one side of the floor to the other really make it difficult to defend him when he finally got the ball on the right wing. That's what I'm referring to when I say you have to get off of the dribble and move the basketball.
Well, I guess as Jones comes in for Bird, with Mark Davis, I guess we're really looking at the last of the great point guard, power forward swingmen.
And he's done that. He's played all 5 of those positions.
Point last year, power forward this year, and he leads them in rebounding and assists this year from the 4 spot. 8.8 boards, 4.7 assists.
Dave, he may have a chance of playing at the next level. I mean, Mark Davis just might end up getting drafted. That doesn't mean you're going to play at the next level, but I'll tell you what, he's going to have a shot.
Folks are watching him. He had a triple-double in front of a lot of those scouts against the TCU in Lubbock. Roy Smith moves it up in a hurry. Davis travels, dragged that foot in making the spin move. Back in comes Jason Martin. 8:55 to play in this one. Texas awaits the winner. They defeated Rice 78-75. Houston unable to reignite the magic of last night's upset over TCU. Tech has had it easy against both SMU and the U of H.
I can't say enough about Rice's performance here against Texas tonight, and the job that Willis Wilson did. They did everything but win that game.
They really had Texas, I think, extremely nervous.
Scared to death is the right word.
And I think it's an indication of how Rice looks at their program now, that they're not just happy because they scared Texas. They are really, truly upset that they didn't win that game.
There were some tough calls late in that ball game that went against both of those teams.
Boy, and the shot that beat him was the shot that Texas had been missing every other time they tried it in the second half. A 25-footer by Roderick Anderson.
He sure didn't hesitate, though. He went up and took it. And as he stated in talking to you, Tom Penders gives them the freedom to take that shot.
And the whole point of that style is when you have a shot to win a game, you should be cool and not worry about the outcome. And that's how they play all year, and that's the way Anderson credits his ability to make that shot. Lance Hughes, a nice ovation as he heads out with 8.5 minutes to go. With 19 points, 7 of 13 from the field. Forward air ball on a 3. Houston shooting a respectable 47% to 50% by Texas Tech. Shooting percentage in this instant does not tell the whole story. Elks had it from the get-go about the way they wanted it. Smith on a nice look inside by Bernard Lloyd. Big 6'9", 250-pounder on the assist, and Kirk Ford's reverse ends in a foul.
Texas Tech with a couple of big bodies in there off of their bench. Cooper and Lloyd, 2 guys that are strong, can jump. Lloyd played junior college basketball with Mark Davis.
Howard College in Big Spring. That foul on Cooper, his second. And Dickey has begun the emptying of the bench. This is Davis out with 13 points. First team all conference, just like Sasser is front court mate. Kirk Ford, his 8th point. Corey Carr, freshman from Kingsland, Arkansas, is in. One by one, the Raiders can start to turn their sights toward the Texas Longhorns tomorrow afternoon. 7:57 left in this one, and they lead by 21 points.
We made history on the American road. Now we're looking to the future. Introducing the new Ford Explorer. The only leading compact sport utility with standard dual airbags. The one with the roomiest interior. And the one that was ranked highest compact sport utility in initial quality. The new Ford Explorer. Far and away, the best the world has to offer.
It's where the Panthers have brought home 3 state titles, and where each May brings a new spring festival queen. Yet Abbeville, South Carolina is also a major financial center because it's served by Nations Bank.
giving Canfield Dairy the same resources as any national corporation, providing the Thompsons on Turner Street the investments they'd find on Wall Street, and making sure folks don't have to take a back seat to anyone. In Abbeville and 1,900 other communities throughout our nation.
Now that you've given her away, you'll always cherish the memories. You'll always remember the joy. And you'll never forget the bill.
$220 for parts?
But hey, isn't that why you got Visa Gold in the first place? With all the purchase power to handle any occasion. Even the most precious. Visa Gold, it's everywhere you want to be.
Tonight's game is brought to you in part by La Quinta Inns. Why aren't you here? 7:57 to play. Dave Barnett and Bob Ortigal at Reunion Arena in Dallas. Our second semifinal has been a dominant performance by the Texas Tech Red Raiders from the opening tip. They've led by as many as 24, and it's 75-54 here.
And now Houston has taken the defensive player off of the ball out of bounds and given him basket responsibility. And that time it was Lloyd down the floor.
Nice steal. Good anticipation by Robinson.
That was a careless mistake that time.
Naaman Jones leading fellow freshman Robinson, who draws the foul and almost gets the shot to fall. Bernard Lloyd lands on him and picks up number 4. Jason Sasser has 21 points in this one. Hughes right behind him with 19. So they've combined for 40. The entire Houston team has only 14 points more than those two have provided.
There's a look at Jason Sasser on the left. Lance Hughes on the right. Sasser a junior, one more year to play. This is it for Hughes. He wants to win this tournament again, get the automatic bid to the NCAA tournament, but Texas is going to have something to say about that.
I think as a coach, you'd like a guy like Sasser to be the one that your other players take their cues from, because he is so relentless and so fearless. Well, you hope that that can be contagious.
Oh, it is contagious. There's no question about that. Enthusiasm, winning, playing hard, that's every bit as contagious as losing. And I think that's why James Dickey refers to Jason Sasser as the ultimate warrior, for that very reason. Sasser practices that way. I've seen him practice, and he plays hard all the time.
Boy Smith just missing the 3. Bernard Lloyd back up. And Drain comes down with a board. Go under 7 minutes. 20-point lead for the Red Raiders. Tim Moore, about as relentless as Sasser is. He goes up on Cooper, and Janae Cooper is hit with his 3rd, or they might switch this one over on Lloyd, and if they do, that's going to be it for him. He has fouled out. And he fouls out scoreless, but with a nice hand.
I'll tell you,
Lance Hughes' night is not over. He comes back.
James Dickey is not taking any chances. Not only does he come back with Hughes, but he comes back inside with Ham. He also comes back with Davis right now. I learned a long time ago in tournament competition, if you're winning by 20, 25 points, go ahead and win by 40. Don't do anything in tournament play to eliminate momentum. Keep momentum going. And don't worry about if you've got people that haven't had much playing time all year, by the time you get to the tournament, it's not time to get them playing time. You narrow your rotation, and we've seen that here in this tournament. Rotations get narrowed at tournament time. You've been going with 10 guys, you see it cut to 7 or 8, or your 9th and 10th man, if they do play, are getting fewer minutes.
Well, these have been the best 2 tournament teams in this particular tournament in its history, which goes back to the mid-70s, goes back to the Guy Lewis years at Houston, and before Dickey's arrival, the Gerald Myers teams at Texas Tech. Both 28 and 14 in classic play before this meeting. 5 championships for Houston, 4 for Texas Tech. Broken up by Jason Martin, and he heads into the first row.
Good hustle by Martin. Good hands. He really reacted well when the pass was made and got a piece of it.
Robinson jump stop, drops it, and lays it home. He has 12 off the bench.
Robinson does a great job getting up and down the floor. He runs the floor.
In that respect, he really plays smaller than you. 6'9" and 245. Three-point try is on target for Mark Davis. A pair of second-half threes. Davis up to 16.
Nice job getting Davis the ball on the wing that time by Hughes.
Raiders know exactly what Tim Moore has in mind, and they collapse the double team around him and strip the ball. Martin to Hughes, up with a three. Rebound to Damon Jones.
I don't know where Jones is going. You want to keep that ball in the middle. You eliminate any opportunity to balance the floor.
Drain's off the pitch for a step.
Drain knew where he was going.
6 of his 8 in the second half. Tech off their biggest win ever in this tournament, 92-54 over the Mustangs yesterday, and they have followed it up very solidly today. Not many holes in their game. And if you look toward tomorrow and you're Tom Penders, you know that because you've already played him twice. And the first time they played him early in the season, compared to where they are now, really there is no comparison. They blew out a very shaky Tech team in Austin when they had the rematch in Lubbock. Jason Sasser excelled, and Tech won it, pulling away at the end. So I think that game, much more than Tech's blowout loss at Austin, probably is the one to look at when you try and project what may happen tomorrow.
I would have to agree. I think it'll be a very interesting ball game, and it'll come down once again that who's ever playing Texas is going to have to try and control their guards. You can't eliminate their game. You've got to control Anderson and Rencher a little bit and be sure to rebound. Tech has the people to rebound for Texas. And as you mentioned, Tech did win in Lubbock. Texas won in Austin. So the stage is set for a fine collegiate basketball.
Two of the top scoring teams in the country all year. Robinson fouled by Ham. Marvin Ham's first foul since the first couple of minutes, and because of those two early calls, he has not had a chance to really get into much momentum. TCU barely led the nation in scoring because Texas was just 0.3 of a point behind them, and Texas Tech was number 9. Not bad for one league, 3 of the top 9 offensive machines in basketball. And individually, it was an historic year as well for the conference in terms of national rankings and individual categories.
Yeah, there were a lot of players led by Kurt Thomas at TCU who did a lot of things on the national level to lead in certain statistical categories. It was very, very impressive.
79-62, under 5 minutes. Tech also the number 3 rebounding team in the country. And without a big 6'10", 7-foot type presence, that's really impressive and a little bit surprising. Marvin Ham and a foul.
And there's a good example of what you're talking about. Ham is one of those outstanding rebounders. They're all pretty strong individuals. They jump very well. They're good athletes, and Ham, an extremely effective offensive rebounder, did get the board that time and get it back up on the glass.
Three-point play for Marvin Ham makes it 82-62. Willie Bird back in for Houston. I don't recall this ever happening for one conference. Roderick Anderson leads the nation in steals, Kurt Thomas in scoring and rebounding, and Nelson Haggerty of Baylor in assists.
That's really impressive. I mean, all out of one league, and those are big-time numbers too. Stop and think about the number of college basketball players in America, the number of good players, and some of the great stats they put together. This league's got players that lead in 4 categories.
Moore, and the follow by Kirk Ford. 11 points for Ford, 82-64. Oh, that long second half rest has not happened for Tech, but they just keep firing. That's a long 2-pointer for Jason Martin.
Look at James Dickey over there. He just wants to get this thing over with. Let's get out of here. That's what he's saying.
Coaches every last drop, doesn't he? He's sweating it even with a 20-point lead. He wants to see him play the right way, not just take advantage of garbage time, but get ready for tomorrow and hopefully for the action beyond tomorrow. Foul number 4 on Darvin Ham, and Tony Batty sent in by Dickey. Well, this bears repeating. When Tech gets to the finals, they win the tournament. That's their history. 4 times they had advanced past the semis. All 4 were here in Dallas, and all 4 ended in championships. Most recently 2 years ago when they defeated Houston in the championship round here, 88-76.
And a lot of those people back. That's what makes tomorrow afternoon interesting here at Reunion Arena in Dallas.
TCU has to hope that the NIT comes calling for them, and there's a lot of reasons that they should. Nation's best offensive team, best offensive player, best rebounder.
And Billy Tubbs, don't forget Billy Tubbs' national reputation. That will not hurt as the NIT selection committee extends their bids.
Timeout, 3:28 remaining, 84-65, Texas Tech.
We changed the way you saw the world. Now we've made a world of changes. Introducing the new Ford Explorer, the only leading sport utility with standard dual airbags. The only one with control track 4-wheel drive for instant traction control automatically. Plus an engine that lets you go 100,000 miles before your first tune-up. The new Ford Explorer. Far and away, the best the world has to offer.
Yeah, but can they plow the back 40? Introducing the new, more powerful Grand L series from Kubota with our smoothest, quietest tractor engine yet.
There are no medals for being the shoulder to cry on. No songs of praise for keeping traditions alive. But to the men who give their best every day, we offer our best. Gillette Sensor XL. Spring-mounted blades and microfins to set up your beard, and Gillette Series shaving gel for incredible smoothness. Sensor XL, the world's best shave, and sometimes that's its own reward. Gillette, the best a man can get.
Here's our Pizza Hut delivery of the game. You'll love this stuff.
Over the top, Jason Sasser, number 33, against that Houston pressure. Takes the pass and goes on in and scores.
21-point night for Sasser. Davis 17. Still in. 3:28 to go. Along with Cooper, Batty, and Smith. Tommy Davis back. He's been sitting with 4 fouls. Smith, excellent 3-point range. Drops one home. And there was some contact underneath. The basket will count for Coy Smith. 44% shooter, which is really outstanding from 3-point land during the regular season.
Basket by Coy Smith.
And Mark Davis is also hit with a foul after they counted the points. So Mark Davis is hit with his 3rd personal.
Well, that man right there has got some work to do, and so does that team right there in the offseason. In terms of conditioning, probably the weight room, working on their game individually, trying to come back from what has been a disappointing season for Houston basketball this year.
Corey Carr on for what may be the last appearance tonight for Mark Davis. Although we thought that previously. Dickey brought him back.
Houston's shot is shooting 57% here in the second half, but they've only had 23 shots.
And they were down 19 at the half, and they've actually lost ground while shooting 57%. 87-67.
Martin's got 8 points. The point guard for Tech, he's got a chance to be in double figures. He doesn't do that very often.
That's a whole lot for him. That's a burst. Marvin Ham has 9. That's a good offensive performance for him. Shot clock at 3. Corey Carr. Cooper battling Drain and Moore, and Janae Cooper touched it last. Out of bounds to the Cougars. Now Chad Collins, outgoing senior from San Antonio, who has been a part-time starter during his career in Lubbock. Checking in for Martin. For some more bench clearing by James Dickey. 2.5 to play. Houston will finish the year 9-19, while Tech improves to 20-8. With at least one more in their future.
How often do you see Texas Tech play a zone defense? They're playing a zone right now against Houston. James Dickey doesn't want any more fouls. They don't play a lot of zone defense because they're so athletic, the first 7 or 8 players.
They're going to wait on the clock here. Passed up a couple of shots because the shot clock still has a lot on it. Down to 12. McCoy Smith.
Good help by Jesse Drain.
Cooper picked up on the rotation by Little Davis, but the Cougars come away with it. And it's Moore from Davis. He got hooked in midair by Batee. Our player of the game, brought to you by Dr. Pepper, got to be Jason Sasser, the junior from Dallas, who set the tone with 16 first-half points and resting comfortably at the moment with 21.
Martin distributes the ball to Sasser as he comes right at you. Handles himself well in the air, gets the ball up and in.
Timeout. 1:45 to play in Dallas.
Football can be exciting, but truck football, now that's a rush. So if you're going to tackle it, you better get a hold of the right equipment. A 1995 Ford Ranger 4x4.
Red 39!
Complete with switch-on 4-wheel drive, new 4-wheel anti-lock brakes, and a whopping 4-liter V6. So get a Ford Ranger 4x4 and play truck football.
How am I going to spike this thing? Sweet dream, baby. Sweet dream, baby. Sweet dream, baby. How long must I dream?
1:45 to play. This is going to be Texas Tech's third decisive victory in as many tries against the Cougars. They will have a streak of 11 out of 12 and 15 out of 17 in the win column after a bit of a shaky start against one of the tougher schedules Tech has ever played. Certainly the toughest non-conference schedule that they played in James Dickey's 4 years. But you play that type of schedule to get you ready for what they hope is awaiting.
Yeah, you're talking about the Big 12, my friend, and that's what you have to do. You've got to gear it up. That's going to be a very fine league in all sports, but it will be a superb basketball conference.
Well, and even before that, what they immediately hopes in their future. I hesitate to call it this because it's such a cliche, but I'll do it here. The big dance. We haven't said big dance all year. Now we've got it out of our system. Brock Barnes in, a freshman from Perryton.
Oh, I thought that was going out of bounds.
Janae Cooper with 10 rebounds and 6 points. Foul at minute 33. Tim Moore's fourth. So that would leave only one unused Red Raider, and he is poised and ready to check in at the next opportunity, and that would be senior walk-on James Reich of Haskell, Texas.
Tim Moore came into this ball game. That's Cooper you're looking at right there. Moore from Houston came into the ball game averaging a double-double, 20 and 10. He has 21 points And 10 points, so he's right on target, or 10 rebounds. He's right on target. You know, this guy Cooper could get a lot of playing time next year. Hughes is gone. Mark Davis is gone.
Houston, meanwhile, out of their main rotation, really only loses one key player, and you just saw him, Jesse Drain, finishing up his Houston career in double figures now with 10 points. Moore and Ford are just juniors. Davis and Jones, the starting guards, are both true freshmen, as is Robinson. Gets a lot of time off the bench. Here's Wright in for his 11th game. They'll walk on along with Barnes, Collins, Battie, and Carr. 1:17 to play.
Well, if you're Houston right now, you really don't want to commit those fouls. It's kind of meaningless to put Tech at the free throw line. You're not gaining anything by stopping the clock. You're certainly not going to be able to win the ball game. As you look at senior Chad Collins, he was a 4-year starter in high school. By the way, this guy's mother and father both attended Tech. Chad Collins' mom and dad did. I think he's an important part of this team as it relates to chemistry, Dave. He's a solid senior, has not created problems.
It goes for Kirk Ford.
That was Tim Moore up above the rim where you normally see him.
90-73, final minute at Reunion. Texas wins the first semi. It's going to be Texas Tech and Texas for what should be an entertaining final tomorrow afternoon. What a slam and a foul by Corey Carr.
He took that right to Tim Moore. Moore went up to block that shot and did not get it. Corey Carr, and I mean, did he explode? Look at this play. It's a great play. Holy cow.
And he fouls Moore out of the game.
Carr, a very talented player. He's from Kingsland, Arkansas, Dave, and get this. There were more people in Reunion Arena tonight than they have in Kingsland. They have about 500 folks there.
More than any two sections you can look at than they have in Kingsland.
Tommy Davis returned for Houston.
Basketball in his blood. His cousin is Cliff Levingston of the Denver Nuggets. Tommy Davis back in. 48.7 seconds. And for the three-point play, not quite. Well, it's been a fun year for all of us concerned here. Producer David Handler, director Rembert Young, three-pointer Damon Jones,
3 points.
Lee Friday. All the others too vast and talented to name individually. We appreciate their major contributions all year, and even you. I've even had fun again working with you.
Yeah, I was waiting. I noticed I was last on the list, though. It's a good thing if there had been 10 seconds left, I wouldn't have even made the list. You're supposed to start with me. I'm your broadcast partner.
It's the 6th straight year I've had fun with you.
I've enjoyed it too, Dave.
And Reed Geddes and Jimmy Dykes, all our various colleagues, Greg Lucas, Ned Musil.
You know, it's dangerous to do what you're doing. If you leave somebody out, then you've offended them.
Executive producer Peter Rolfe and coordinating producer Johnny Tyus.
Now you're trying to cover your paycheck.
I think I got them all.
You got the two important ones, I'll tell you that. Oh, what a politician and a diplomat.
No, just a chicken.
That's Lance Hughes you were looking at right there, along with the Texas Tech bench. They're in the finals of the Dr. Pepper Southwest Conference Classic. They're happy to be there, and I'll promise you, if Texas Tech and Texas are playing, it will be competitive and interesting. Even if it's tiddlywinks, it'll be interesting because it's a great rivalry.
Ford misses the three. Bird misses the follow. Tech ball with 9.2. That final 4:30 right here at Reunion Arena tomorrow. Texas Tech and Texas, who split during the regular season. For the automatic Southwest Conference NCAA bid. This one is over. This one goes to the Red Raiders of James Dickey by 15, 94-79. To advance against the Longhorns in the finals of the Dr. Pepper Southwest Conference Classic tomorrow.
There's a lot of shoes in this wall. Better let me help you. After all, I'm always gonna be waiting on you at the finish line.